before I forget, do that. And just give everyone one more minute, a few more people coming in. All right. I am so glad you're here. My name is Sarah Bybee Fisk. I am a master certified coach and instructor. And I have spent the last 5 years coaching and the last 2 focusing intense just on people pleasing, on how to heal it, how to recognize it, how to know what works and what doesn't. And I assure you that all of this is 100% autobiographical. I am a recovering people pleaser now. I would say that I'm in recovery for maybe a year now. That's probably about right. I still find places where I'm people pleasing. It is a sneaky thing, and we'll find out why. And so I'm always coming back to these tools and using them on myself, using them in private practice with the women that I work one-to-one, and then in a group coaching program to tell you about today. If you are joining us, welcome. I'm going to keep everyone muted just because that's the best way to make sure there is no background noise or interference. So if you want to say something, go ahead and just raise your hand, and then you'll just need to unmute. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. So people are going to keep in, and we're just going to get started. I know you are in the right place today. If you are tired of walking around eggshells around that person, you know that person, right? You're never really sure if they're mad at you, if you've done something wrong. And so you just kind of tiptoe around them just in case you did something that they don't like. I know that you're tired of being late to things because you're overscheduled. You're doing too many things. And so sometimes you're late. Sometimes you miss important events altogether. Sometimes you plan something for yourself and you're not able to do it because you're so tied up doing things for other people. I know that you overthink. I know that you're so worried about making the right decision that you spend a lot of time ruminating on that someone is not going to be mad at you for the decision that you choose. A lot, right? I'm going to stop for just a second because I see some freezing. Am I freezing or is someone else freezing? Okay, let me try something. Let me switch. There we go. Switch networks. Okay. If someone, I'm going to put you in charge of just raising your hand if I start freezing again, and I'll adjust that. Is that all right? Okay, awesome. Okay. I also know that you lie. I lie. When I can't tell the truth to someone, when I know they're going to be mad if I tell them what is really happening for me, I come up with something. And I know you don't like that. We want to be able to be truthful and honest. So if some of those things describe you, you're in the right place. You're here because you want something to change. So what I want you to do right now is look along the bottom of the Zoom window, and there is a chat bubble. Open up that chat bubble. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell me, what are the things that you want to change about your people pleasing? Is there someone that you want to have a difficult conversation with and you don't know how? Is there a relationship that you would like to end because it's not serving you anymore and you don't know how to do that? Is it tough for you to set and hold a boundary? So think about that and put your answer in the chat. I want to know what you want to change. And people are going to keep joining us. I'm going to keep asking that question. But in the chat, I want you to tell me, what do you want to change? So Michelle is getting out of automatic hypervigilant mode. We're going to talk specifically about hypervigilance and how we develop it. Point. Yeah. Neha, be more me. Let go cleanly from relationships that aren't serving me. Stop giving 2 Fs. Yes. Megan, I would love to stop over functioning for everyone around me. Isn't it true? When we are the people pleaser, we are always on, always having to find the way to meet people's needs. Yes. Setting boundaries. Yes, Norella, Kimberly, to approach some controlling behavior and a request and a boundary. Yeah, boundaries are tough. It's really tough to keep a boundary at the same time that you're trying to make other people happy, because sometimes those are mutually exclusive. Haley May, I want to be okay with people thinking negatively about me. Yeah. How many of you have had the experience where you think someone thinks something about you and you ruminate on it? You worry. Is that what they think? Where would they have gotten that idea? How can I fix it? How can I make them don't think that of me? And the time and energy that goes into that, it's amazing. So all of you, you are in the right place. Mary, you always put yourself last. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So next question. What are the most common negative emotions that you feel when you are putting yourself last, when you are doing those things, when you are not able to take time for yourself, when you're afraid to speak up? What are the most common negative emotions? Trisha already said guilty. That's a big one. Guilt is going to be in there for sure. Resentment. Yes. Anger. Yes. Yes. Exhaustion. Yes. Yes. Hypervigilance leads to exhaustion because your brain is always on. And if you're always worried about who thinks something negatively of me, who's mad at me, who do I need to do something for, that literally is an exhausting, battery depleting activity. Fear, exhaustion, anger, resentment, extreme anxiety, self-criticism. Yes. Passive aggression, all of the above toward myself and others. Yes, you are in the right place. Question number 3. How have you already tried to resolve these people-pleasing tendencies of yours? What have you done to deal with the emotions? What have you already tried? I'll start. I find that a good chocolate chip cookie will help me feel a little less worried. So it might be things like eating, giving yourself treats, whether it's a cookie or shopping or scrolling, something to just like turn your brain off, to distract yourself, to disengage, to disassociate, buffering, codependency meetings. Fantastic. Listening to me. Oh, thank you, Norella. Eating, drinking, shopping, reading, Netflixing. Yes. Hearing me. Thank you. Scheduling more me time, but then I end up pushing it. Yep. Yes. Okay. It's very common to develop the habit of venting to other people around everything that's going wrong for you, to always be searching for to validate you. I call it, you become a validation vampire. You always need someone else to tell you, someone else to give you that infusion of validation to help you calm down. No, you really are doing it right. They really are the bad person in this. And you need someone like that all the time. So you're validating, you're venting, you're always running your actions by other people to make sure that they're okay. The time that takes is incredible. Blaming, yes. Pausing, holding my tongue, holding back when I want to rescue. Kimberly, yes. Okay. Last question. This is the important one. How many hours would you guess on a typical day do you spend feeling those negative emotions, doing the thing that you wish would change, or scrolling, being a validation vampire, buffering, watching Netflix? Like, how many hours a day would you guess that you spend feeling guilty, feeling resentful, or getting caught up in doing things for other people that you don't want to do, or ruminating in your mind about all the things that, oh, I can't believe I did that. Why did I say it that way? Why didn't I say it this other way? If I choose this, he's going to be mad. Your mind going. Yeah. Yes. Way too many. Yeah. That's the answer for all of us, right? You've got it. Okay. A few, 2 to 3. Yes. 2 to 3 hours. 6. Yes. 5. Yes. All of this falls right within about the average of the women that I speak with. It's about 3 to 5 hours a day. Now, sometimes our body is doing other things, right? we're driving to carpool, we're going to work, we're walking the dog, whatever. But it's our brain that is tied up in ruminating, worrying. Then we go home and we eat a cookie and watch Netflix for a little while. So I want everyone to, if you have a calculator, pull it out. Whatever number you gave me, we're going to do some math together. So I'm going to take the low end of the spectrum, 3 hours a day. So 3 hours a day times 7 days a week, 21 hours a week. Now take that and multiply it times 52 weeks a year. That's 1,092 hours a year that you spend just hemorrhaging energy, time because of people pleasing. And the reason that that math matters is because it's your time, and it is time that you will never, ever get back or get more of. Time is the one truly limited resource that we have. And so if I seem like I'm passionate and on fire today, I am, because this is, for me, the most compelling reason why we need to stop people pleasing is that it literally depletes us of our most valuable energy, our time, and our ability to stay present with our life. People pleasers are always worrying about the past or worrying about the future. And what I want to do is help you stop. So any time that we lose is too much. And so what we are here to do is figure out what to change so that we can get that time back to do whatever we want with. I don't care if you get all this time back and you decide to watch some good Netflix shows with that. It doesn't matter to me, but that time is yours and we should consciously. So nothing changes if you keep doing the same thing. I'm going to teach you today about 4 different steps, 5 actually, that you can do. And it's exactly like being at the gym with a trainer who's teaching you a great exercise. It's going to make you really strong and it's going to help you stop people pleasing. And this will make an immediate difference for you. And I'm also going to tell you about how my group, Stop People Pleasing, is the very best place for that ongoing training, the mental workouts, the emotional coaching, the lifting weights together of the heaviness of some of these situations for you to get that ongoing consistency and coaching, because nobody shows up at the gym once and expects a permanent change, right? Nobody goes to the gym once and expects to have everything that they want. So this is a combination of learning tools and then you being consistent about practicing them. All right, so I'm going to put this link in the in the chat, and it is to a Google Drive folder where I've taken pictures of all of these slides that I'm going to show you. So you don't have to take pictures or notes. You can just open that. So, and I did so that we could enjoy just looking at each other. I'm going to pin myself so that I can make sure that you can see this. All right. The biggest question that I get is how? How did this happen to us? It is actually very, very simple. How did we become people pleasers? We were born. Babies come into the world completely unable to take care of their own needs. They are dependent on the big people, and embedded in every baby is a cry. And when they cry, they get attention, they get fed, they get their diaper changed, they're comforted, they're put to sleep, their needs are met. And every single baby comes into the world trying to understand how to get their needs met. Let me make sure, is that okay? All right, so that cry is a behavior. And when they do the behavior and they get a result, they learn, oh, if I cry, then these good things happen. I get my needs met. And so that is the very beginning of the foundational connection between I do a behavior and there is some kind of reward or punishment. So children grow up testing and strengthening this hypothesis. If I do this, I wonder what's going to happen. And they quickly figure out what gets rewarded and what gets punished. Then as they grow, there's more big people that come into their lives, teachers, coaches, religious leaders, other friends. And so there's just more people with more rules which govern their behavior to test out. But this creates children who are constantly looking outside of themselves for signals about how they should be behaving, noticing when they get rewarded and when they get punishment. And they want to feel safe and accepted because safety, acceptance, love, connection, belonging, friendship, those are essential needs in the human experience. And so, of course, they want to feel safe and accepted. So they people please. And they start thinking things like, I have to do it right. I can't make anyone mad. And they start feeling some anxiety, which turns into hypervigilance, always wondering, always worrying. And that's why so many of us today are just trying to figure out how to keep other people happy so we can feel safe and accepted. Right? It is actually very, very simple. People pleasing is not optional. It's the way that we get our needs met. And what I hope this information does for you, I know so many of you who beat yourselves up for people pleasing. It actually breaks my heart because you're so hard on yourself about something that's unavoidable. The problem is not that we people please. The problem is that we don't know how not to people please. Because at some point in our lives, we don't want to be following everybody else's rules all the time. We want some time for us. We want some of our own energy to flow back to us instead of constantly out. We want to break some rules. We want to do some different things. And when we are so hemmed in by the hypervigilance and the anxiety and the fear, that's the cycle that we want to talk about. So, any questions about that? I hope what this information allows is for you to take a big, deep breath and just realize people pleasing is not the problem. I can learn how to stop. And we're going to do that right now. So, in every people pleasing situation, there is always some situation that comes up. A boss asks you to take on an additional mentoring assignment at work. Someone at school asks for you to volunteer. Your mom asks you to go to church with her. That is the situation. And if we go back to some of the things that you were saying, it's not being able to hold boundaries, right? You're in front of someone and they want something from you. So the first step is always to pause. Sometimes this looks like never saying yes in the moment, never engaging in a conversation when you feel like you're going to people please, putting it off. And the pause is simply a memorized phrase that you use to deploy, to get yourself time to calm down and time to think. So if someone asks you for your time, your energy, your effort, you have something in your back pocket that you've kept memorized, something like, I would love to think about that and get back to you. Thanks for asking. I'll check. I'm going to think that through and circle back. I'm going to check my calendar and let you know if that works for me. Just a phrase that when you need it, it is. Everybody write down for yourself, and you can put it in the chat right now. What phrase are you going to try out? What phrase are you going to use? Thanks for asking. I'll check. Okay. I'll circle back with you. Fantastic. And if you think of one that I didn't name, please let us know. Thanks for asking. I'll get back to you. I used for a little while, I would just say, awesome, I'll let you know. Oh, cool, let me check. Exactly. It can be friendly if you like. It can be serious if you like. That is completely up to you. The point is that you have a pause so that you never agree or continue down the people-pleasing path in that moment, because you're going to then do step number 2. Michelle has such a good point. I always end up over explaining, and then they end up arguing with me or over. Don't let them engage with you, because, oh my gosh, people pleasers, we leave blood in the water, and people can smell it, and they know that it's just a matter of time before they wear us down. So we pause. We don't give them that chance, because step number 2 is pretend. And I want you to pretend 2 things. Number 1, what would happen if I did the thing? I'm going to use an example. One of my clients was asked to play the piano at a cousin's wedding, and she was asked by her aunt. She deployed the phrase, "I'd love to check and get back to you." So she went back to her home, and now she was at step number 2, pretending. She's going to pretend I said yes. What would happen if I said yes? What would that look like? And I'm going to pretend that I say no. What would that look like? Because this is the time when we can plug back into our prefrontal cortex and actually use that most powerful part of our brain to help us make a decision. For many of us, when we're put on the spot and when we're asked for something, and when it is our habit to just say yes, we just say yes. It's just the pattern we've always done. So that's why we need the pause, so that we can pretend. So my client went back to her home and she said, all right, if I say yes to playing the piano, it's this particular song. What do I think? It's, about 3 hours for me to practice and learn this piece.
¿Quieres que imprimo?
About 3 hours for me to practice with the people the day of the event. There's a 3-hour wedding rehearsal. Then I am going to have to get up an hour early because I got to get my kids ready. So I'm going to have to help my husband get all of them ready. So husband will be sitting alone at the wedding. I will be up at the piano. Okay, that's what's going to happen if I say yes. If I pretend that I said yes, I'm going to feel some guilt. I wish I was sitting with my husband. I'm going to feel some resentment. I wish they hadn't asked me to do this. Okay. If I say no, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel so much guilt. They asked me to do this. That must mean they want me. So it's either guilt on one hand or resentment and guilt and 7 hours on the other hand. That's why we pretend. It's the forecasting that we do to be able to understand the cost of this request. We go through what it's actually like in terms of our time, our energy, our effort, and how we feel. It's really important in the pretending phase to name the emotions that you will be feeling either way. Because then the most important question is what I want? Do I want the 7 hours of practicing, husband alone with kids? Do I want to be feeling resentful and guilty? Or do I want to feel guilt? Because step number 3 is you pick. Notice it is uncomfortable to people please. For my client who was asked to play the piano at the wedding, it's a 7-hour plus guilt and resentment. That's the cost of her saying yes. It is also uncomfortable to not people please. And she'll feel guilty. She'll feel like she let people down. She'll be worried about what they think of her. But only when you have paused and taken your brain through the pretending of each scenario can you really make a choice on purpose. Because you're choosing, now that I have done my best to forecast and understand both scenarios, what do I choose on purpose? She chose to say no. And so she had the opportunity to choose to feel her guilt for not saying no or for not saying yes, and to worry about what they might be thinking about her. But she knew it was what she wanted, and she decided to feel it on purpose. So then she was at step number 4, which is processing. She has to process the guilt, the feelings of guilt that come up for her. I want each of you to imagine one emotion that you might be feeling if you decided not to people please. Think of a familiar situation. What would be the emotion you would feel if you were not people pleasing? Put it in the chat for me. Fear, worry, free, guilt, anxiety, guilt, and fear. Okay, sadness, discomfort. Yes. Now, I want you to think of that emotion and see if you can feel it in your body, because I'm going to teach you right now how to process an emotion. And it's helpful if you're actually feeling the emotion. If you can't, it's okay. You have the steps and you can practice them on your own. But if you can bring that fear or that sadness or that resentment into your body, raise your hand when you're feeling it. Just give me a little handshake when you're feeling the emotion. Okay. All right. The first step is to just breathe. So everybody take a big deep breath with me and then make the out breath as long as possible. Step number 1 is just to take a breath. Step number 2 is to name the emotion. Okay, so I am feeling anxious. I'm feeling anxious. Now, I could just breathe with that anxiety until it passes, or another option is to just describe it. I notice like 2 hands in my chest and it feels like they're squeezing and also like pulling down. It just feels tight here. So name what's happening, describe it, continue to breathe. And then I want you to think of one comforting sentence, one sentence comfort here that feels good. So for me, I say, you're doing it. I know this is so uncomfortable. You're doing it. Maybe you would like to tell yourself, I'm so proud of you. This is so normal to feel anxious. Of course you feel. Breaking this cycle is so hard and you're doing it. You're showing up. So what is your warm, comforting sentence? Go ahead and just put it in the chat when you have it. My favorite is, I love you. Thank you for doing this. I know this is hard. I know that this isn't easy. Thank you for doing this. So I have your back. I love it. I'm right here. Amazing. You've got this. If you don't have a warm, comforting sentence, I really want to encourage you to think of one. You're safe. I see you, Kimberly, and I'm here for you no matter what you choose. This can make all the difference when we are in that discomfort to be there for ourselves. This is so the right thing for you to do. It makes sense for you to feel how you do, and I'm here for you. Of course you feel this way. So normal. Yes. So breathe. Name the emotion. You can describe it if that feels good to you. For some people, describing it doesn't feel good. You'll know. If it doesn't feel good, just breathe and feel it, and then bring in that warm, comforting sentence. Excellent. The last thing, the last step you can't see, it's peaches. Let me explain what I mean. Share my screen for just a second. I planted a peach tree 6 years ago, and look what I picked yesterday. These are peaches from my own tree. And as I was picking them, I just thought, this is amazing. I planted this tree 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm getting peaches. So the reason that peaches is step number 5 is because it's growing. You're planting little seeds that will grow into beautiful trees that have delicious fruit for you to enjoy for the rest of your life, because you are doing this work. When you are stuck in people pleasing, that cycle just goes on and on and on, and it is never ending. But when you stop people pleasing, what actually happens is the muscle memory takes, the muscle development happens, and it becomes easier and easier and easier to say, no, thank you. That's not something I'm interested in. This is my boundary and I will be enforcing it, without all of the guilt and fear and anxiety that we presently have. So Peaches is just to remind you, it's going to get better. It's going to grow and it's going to produce beauty and value and sustenance in your life that you can't even imagine right now. So keep going. All right. Let's talk about how things actually change. You have learned some new tools today. You're going to go try them in your life and in your world. You're going to notice what works and some things that don't work. You're going to notice how people react to you. You're going to notice how you feel. Most people don't change because they run into something that they don't know how to do, a situation that they don't know how to handle. Somebody says something, they don't know how to respond. They feel a certain way and they don't know how to work through that. And that has already happened for a lot of you, and that's why you're here. Because I know you're all hyper aware and you want so badly to get rid of this people pleasing, but if you knew how to do it on your own, you wouldn't be here, right? So every single one of us are in the same boat. We've all tried things and they haven't worked completely and we don't know what to do next. Every single one of you is committed, I am certain, to changing things, but we all run into obstacles that we don't know how to fix on our own. And that's where I come in with my group program, Stop People Pleasing. Inside of Stop People Pleasing, you get 16 hours of live coaching with me. Every single week for 16 hours, we meet face-to-face. I coach you individually on exactly what is coming up in your life. You get daily coaching from me in a private Facebook group that is optional, by the way. There is a beautiful community of women who are just like you. They're all committed to working on their people pleasing and perfectionism together. They all are in different relationships. And here's the amazing thing. Sometimes we learn more by listening to other people get coached, because our brain isn't in the situation itself, and it can take coaching that other people get and apply it to ourselves. So that community is essential, because you learn not just from me, but you learn from everyone in the group. We all learn from each other and we heal in community. All of the sessions are recorded. You get worksheets to help you to do the work. You get to keep the sessions and the worksheets forever. These questions really prompt you to dig more deeply into your experience, to make progress, for awareness. So all of that you get to keep forever. Janessa was a client in Stop People Pleasing, and she is in a position that a lot of us find ourselves in today. She was caring for aging parents and for her own family. So she constantly felt pulled literally in like 10 different directions with 5 different appointments with no time for herself. Here's what she said about her time in Stop People Pleasing. She said, "It was in Stop People Pleasing that I finally learned how to process all of the frustration, the resentment, the sadness that I was feeling around my parents getting older. I wanted to be there to help them, but the list of their needs just kept getting longer and longer, and I didn't know what to do. I learned how to set boundaries. I learned how to hold boundaries. I learned to speak up with my older out-of-state siblings and ask them for help. And I even got one sibling to be the point person on a lot of the care that my mom needed. We worked to share the load." Christine came in to Stop People Pleasing. She was in college. Can you imagine getting to learn this in college? Anyway, she noticed that she was spending a lot of money doing nice things for her friends, but she was really afraid of losing their friendship. She had trouble speaking up in class when she didn't understand what was going on with her professors, so she was failing a few classes. And she was actually also in a relationship that she liked the guy, but she was not able to step up and talk about what she needed and what she wanted. And this is the text I got from her just a few days ago. Hi, Sarah. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for the podcast you've made and Stop People Pleasing. I remember every day what you taught us, and my life has improved so much. I'm so grateful for everything I've learned. I'm confident in myself. I know what I want, what I need. I'm able to set and keep boundaries. I know the difference. This is so key from when I want to help people, when I'm pressured to, and when I'm confident that I just want to do it on my own. I also treat myself with so much more love and compassion. I feel so much gratitude and love for myself. Thank you for the courage to share your stories and work with the world. And then PS, I'm also saving so much money. That was my favorite part. This is what I want for you. I want you to have these kinds of results in your own life. And the best reason for you to join Stop People Pleasing is because you want the changes that you have seen in yourself, or that you imagine for yourself, that you have seen in the client testimonials that I have shared. Joining Stop People Pleasing is just like a gym membership. You have a personal trainer who is standing literally right next to you, teaching you the tools and methods to keep stronger, making sure you know exactly how to do that, and surrounded by a group of your cheer squad, other women who are just like you, cheering you on, helping you, and understanding your particular situations. And remember, the only reason that people quit is because they run into something that they don't know how to work through. Sometimes it's our own doubts and worries about whether or not we can really do it. Sometimes it's the sticky situations that are caused when we stop people pleasing, right? When you stop people pleasing, the people in your life who have been benefiting from it, they might not like it. It might create some situations for you to work through. It is also very normal for us to think that there's something especially extra special, super broken just about you. And I know that's not true, but that's why we come back and stop people pleasing week after week after week, to make sure that you develop the new ways of thinking and acting so that you can really eliminate people pleasing behavior. So here's what this week is going to look like. Before I do that, let me just pause a second. Do you have any questions about anything that we have talked about? What is standing out to you? So one of two things. If you have a question, put it in the chat for me. Or what is really hitting you? What part of this really lands for you? Maybe it's wanting or not, or maybe it's understanding for the first time that this really is possible for you. I hope that's it, because it really is. Maybe it's some regret. I had to go through a lot of regret when I first started this work, that I hadn't done it sooner. Yeah. Being free, feeling secure in myself. Miha, awesome. Sometimes this is just kind of a lot to take in. And so if you're in that spot where you're like, whoa, this is a lot to take in, I feel that too. Take a big, deep breath. I'm going to tell you how this week is going to work. So this week, you are going to practice these tools. You are going to watch for an opportunity to pause. Someone's going to ask for something. Someone is going to want something from you. Maybe you're going to get invited somewhere. Do any of you offhand, do any of you know right now of a situation that's coming up in your life this week where you're going to get a chance to practice these? Some, I see a few heads nodding. It's possible, right? Maybe you already know. If you don't know, that's totally fine. But this week, you're going to be pausing, pretending, thinking through the two different scenarios. If I do it, if I don't, picking, processing your emotions, and then thinking about those delicious peaches that are waiting for you, the fruit of your labors. You are going to come back on Friday for our coaching party. And this week, you're going to watch for just two things. What worked and what didn't work. When I tried these steps, what was it that really mattered and made a difference? And what doesn't seem like it worked at all? And I really need some help on. That's going to be really critical information for you to bring back to our coaching party on Friday, because that's what I'm going to coach you on. So I know that all of you are also wondering about what's next. Excuse me. Yes, you're wondering what's next. This next step we're actually going to take together. So look in the chat. There is a link there to book a one-on-one private consultation with me, because I know that after we get off these calls, I know what people-pleasing brains do. It's going to tell you all the reasons why you can't do this. It's selfish to take this time and energy. She doesn't really know. There's really something extra special, super broken about me. There's some reason why this won't work for me. But your brain is lying to you. So everyone click on that link, and we're going to do this next step together, because what you're going to do, my calendar is going to pop up, and you are going to have the chance to meet one-on-one with me for the following reasons. I want to know what people-pleasing looks like for you. I want to know how it shows up in your life. So click on that link. My calendar will pop up. Find a time that works for you. And we're going to use that time for a couple of things. You're going to tell me what people-pleasing looks like for you. Neha, it's done. Awesome. And then we're going to come up with a plan together for how my program, Stop People Pleasing, will work for you. And I'm going to give you all of the details. When we start, how much it is. The next round starts June 5th. And I'm going to get your input on the day and time, because the people who sign up get to have some say in when and where we meet. Then on Friday, we're going to get to experience that healing in community part that I talked about, because we're all going to come back. We will have practiced these tools. We will know what works and what doesn't work. And we will be able to get some coaching and talk about it together. So open up that link, pick a time that works for you. I'm starting to see some of the confirmations come in. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to talk to you. If you can't meet until next week, no worries. There's room and time for everyone. I can't wait to talk with you. Yes, seeing these little notifications come in, so exciting. Okay. Any other questions? Abby, former and future client of Sarah's, this really does work. It's hard work, but it's so worth it. Totally life-changing. Abby, thank you. Abby has worked really, really hard to create a loving relationship where she is seen. She's not walking on eggshells anymore around former relationships, and she's having a baby. I'm so excited. Thank you, Abby, for saying that. So I am excited to get to know each of you, because this work for me is very individual. It's very personal. So make sure that you set that appointment so that we can have the chance to talk together and come up with a plan for you. All right, let's take a beat here. Everyone take a deep breath, because this next part requires a little bit of imagination. I want you to think of what your life will be like when you no longer have trouble setting boundaries. When you are able to say, this is my boundary, and it will be honored. When a friend asks you for your time and money, and you're able to just say, you know what, thanks for the offer, but that's not really something I'm interested in. And you see their face and you see that they have thoughts about it, but because you are so calm and grounded and you know what is best for you, it's okay. They get to have whatever reaction they're having. If you want to close your eyes, you can, or soften your gaze, but I want you to imagine a more powerful, more calm, more centered version of you. Maybe your boss asks you to put in some extra time to wrap up this really, really important project and keep this client happy. You're not happy. And you say, I need a minute to think that through and get back to you. And you are actually able to convey your reasons to your boss why you don't want to take on this project. You make a clear decision and you are happy about it. Maybe you get to sit down with your partner. Remember, your partner agreed to do that thing and they're not doing that thing? Old you would be just seething and resentful and angry. But the stop people pleasing graduate that you are now says, hey, I noticed that that thing hasn't been done and I'd like to talk about it. When is a good time? You are able to have the conversation with love and confidence. And in that conversation, you're able to just say what needs to be said and work through the issue. Maybe you worry, or maybe in the future, there's going to be a worry about people thinking ill of you, being wrong about you, and you're able to calm yourself down. You are clear, you are grounded. You can speak up with confidence. You're secure in yourself, secure in your relationships. You no longer put yourself last. Your needs are just as important as everyone else's needs. You're able to take new risks with so much self-love, end relationships that aren't working with love, and start new ones with boundaries and boldness. And there's room for you in your life. This is the work that we do inside Stop People Pleasing. And I just cannot wait for you to have these results. I cannot wait to talk to you. I am here for another 10-ish minutes to answer any questions, to help you get signed up. If anyone has any questions about what we've done, I'm hanging out for a little bit to make sure that you get what you need. I'm watching the chat for any questions that you might have. Here's one more thing I will say. Just know that a people pleaser's brain will lie about what you are capable of, about what you are able to do, about taking time for yourself, being selfish and irresponsible. So just be on to your brain. You are worth doing this work for. You are worth it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving me your time. You may not have paid in money, but your time, again, I consider more valuable than money. So thank you so much for being here. If there's any other questions, you can email me or you can find me on social media. You're so welcome. I'll put that link. Oh, someone else asked for the link. I will scroll back and find that for you. There you go. Any questions? Feel free to leave whenever you are ready. You are so welcome, Marie. Thank you. Amy, you're welcome. Thank you, Norella. Excellent. Thank you for being here. Leah, you're so welcome. Megan, all right. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.